morning. This is Leanne at Misty Mountain Homestead, and welcome. Today we're going to make a what we call a sponge. It's with the sourdough starter, and we're going to make sourdough bread. It takes 2-3 days to do this, so this is the first step. I already have my starter. I just happen to have two. I do have, they're both, this one is going to be 7 years old tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, she'll be 7 years old tomorrow. And this is just a white flour sourdough. And this one, this is Robin. She'll be 7 years also in February. This is a whole wheat. I started with red 5, but then for a while I could not get any red 5. But that's okay. It's still whole wheat. So, and we're going to be using freshly milled whole wheat. I have an attachment that I put on my KitchenAid stand mixer, and it works awesome. I just take some wheat berries and I just ground the whole wheat. So we're going to start with some sourdough starter. I like to use both, so they just both keep going. So I put a little bit of both in it. So see, and it's not exact measure. This is a half a cup scoop. I just put some in there, and you want to leave enough starter so it stays going, right? So I have just a little bit left in there. And then I'll just, when I'm done this, I'll just feed it again and put it back in the fridge. And that's all I do. I use them often enough that I don't need to discard any flour anymore. Between our regular bread and this batch, by the way, it's going to make 2 loaves like this. This, I just took this out of the freezer this morning. I make 2. I put one in the freezer, and when I take the other one out of the freezer for use for tomorrow morning or tonight, whatever, and that's when I make a sourdough sponge, and then I put that in the fridge. And when this bread is done, then I'm ready to make another 2 loaves of bread. So this system seems to work pretty good. Normally I take the same one, but for the video here I'll just take another one here. And this is the whole wheat starter. So this is 1/3 of a cup, so I'm just gonna scoop it one more time, I guess. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but you know that it's still active when you start to see some bubbles forming in there. It's pretty dark. It's a gray day here, and I can't use bright lights. It's bothers me, give me headaches. Artificial lights. Anyway, and now we're going to put 1 cup of nut milk. This is optional. I like it. If you're not vegan, or if you consume milk, you can put regular milk, any type of milk, and we use peanut milk here because that's what we use. So I put 1 cup of milk, and then this is a dough hook that works really well. You don't need to use that. Before I bought this, I used to use the end of a wooden spoon. You just want to use either stainless steel or plastic or wood. You don't want to use like aluminum or any other types of metal in there. Anything fermented, I guess. And this is 1.5 cups of water. So I'm going to put 1 cup first. And I'm still going to mix that. And we like to use to add some flax seeds with our bread. These are not grounded or anything like that. I know there's arguments with that it's better to grind it. I prefer like this. And because they soak in liquid in something wet for like 2-3 days before you cook them, they're getting much bigger and softer. So I'm pretty sure you digest that without grounding it. But that's optional, and you can ground it if you want. You can just put anything else, really. Any other mixed grain you want to make, like a mixed grain loaf of bread. And what I do is I put about 4.5 cups of flour. This flour is older here. This is why I'm using this first, because I milled that maybe 2 days ago. So we'll be adding 1 cup for now. And I like to use 2 teaspoons of salt. And this is not very much salt, so it's basically 1 teaspoon per loaf of bread. So it's not that bad. And my measurements are approximate. Until it looks right. So that's a little bit more than 2 cups of flour. And the trick is to mix it very well. What you want to do is you want to work them glutens. So you just don't want to just mix, but you want to add some stretches to it. So this is just a little over 3 cups, I guess. 3 cups of flour and 2 cups of water. So it's total about 4.5 cups of flour and 2.5 cups of liquid. And what we do is we have them, I'll be baking them in this. These are large bread pan. They're cast iron. They will outlast me and for many generations. And they're not cheap, but I really like them. They become non-stick. I just make sure that they have a little bit of oil in it. And you never wash that with soap, obviously. So we make 2 at a time, and then I'll put 1 in the freezer and the other one to use. And that way we shouldn't not run out of bread. It did happen before. It will happen again. But most of the time it's pretty good. So this is the 4th cup, so it's a little more than 4th cup because I had more than 2 cups here. And I'll put the rest of this water. And that's basically the trick, is you just have to really mix it well. And after a while, when it's all mixed, then you'll start to see that it wants to stretch. It's starting to form. So this is not quite half. It's better to do a little bit at a time. If you put too much, then you have to add some water, and then it's like a bowl of cereal, right? You add milk and then you finish the cereal. Now you have to have cereal and you add milk. You finish. You never ask. He starts to see a little bit of stretching. I don't know if you can't see that very well. That's not too bad. You can keep on going like this if you want. It's it just makes it, the more gluten, I think I noticed that the more you do this, if you do a good job at it, you'll have more bubbles, air bubbles in your loaf of bread, which I like. I think this is what the flavor is. It's that, is it carbon dioxide or dioxide, or anyway, I'm bad with words, but it tastes good. And this is pretty much all the bread we've been eating for the last few years now. And once you get used to this, the store-bought bread, it tastes like cardboard. It really does. Like, especially the whole wheat. If I go to a restaurant and they ask for white or brown bread, I ask for white now because the brown tastes horrible. And I know it's not all whole wheat in there. They say made it with 100% whole wheat, but they put just a little bit of 100% whole wheat. Like, the rest of it is just white bread. It's still wheat, but it's bleached and take all the nutrients and fiber and everything all out of it. So it's basically, there's no nutrition at all in white bread. And even the brown bread from the store, you're not doing any better. I'm not sure what they put in there, but to me it tastes horrible. See, now that looks like it. See, when you can stretch like this, and this is what you want. So we just take this out, and I'm going to be putting a lid on this. And I'm going to put that in the fridge. That's going to take us about, what's today, Thursday, so we're going to be about Friday, Saturday. I'm probably going to make bread Saturday. And yeah, and then by Saturday or Sunday I make a loaf of bread. I'll put one in the freezer, and the other one, it's going to be for eating. And we'll just repeat that cycle again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this video. I'm not going to finish it and publish it yet. I'm going to wait until Friday or Saturday, and I'm going to make the bread and show you the finished result. And too bad there's no smelly TV, because after it's cooked, it's baked in the house, especially with this little, it's a Cuisinart steam bake. You put it on steam bake for the bread, and oh my god, it's really, really good. It makes the bread even different than just in the oven. It makes the crust really hard and crispy, but the inside is nice and just yummy. Okay, I'm hungry now. So we'll just pause for now, and we'll be back on for the next step in a couple days. See you in a bit. And welcome back to Misty Mountain Homestead. This is actually Sunday now, and then we're going to do the bread today. Uh, that was on the fridge since the last video, I believe was Thursday or something, Thursday or Friday. And it's been sitting in the fridge all this time. So now we're just going to do we're going to separate this dough in two, and we'll make 2 loaves of bread with that. I just freshly milled some more flour again. just because I'm not sure if I have enough or not. Uh, they say when you mill the fresh flour um, that you should store the leftover in the fridge or in the freezer. But I find it in this house, it doesn't last more than 2 days. Okay, they say to the flour, if you're not going to use it all, to store the leftovers in the fridge or in the freezer. But here we use it so much that um, it doesn't make a difference. I really don't think you'll have time to get stale. I'm actually milling some pretty much every day or at least every second day. So between uh, the muffins, the zucchini bread, the regular bread, the burger buns, sandwich bread, flat bread, uh, all that. Anyway, we use quite a bit of flour in this house, which there's a lot of argument of eating a lot of bread. Uh, we believe we eat this one healthy, but it's not for everybody, that's for sure. There's more and more people having a hard time with gluten. It used to be a very rare thing. I used to think it was just because of the non-organic flour that is sprayed with um, Roundup. I can't remember the name of the ingredient of that. Um, that caused that. But I'm seeing more and more now that there's just a lot of people that has gluten intolerance issues, and no matter what. So I'm lucky. I don't think it's a problem. I know what um, aggravates my inflammation is actually sugar. I just had a muffin 2 days in a row, just like two muffins, one muffin for 2 days in a row, and I'm having a hell of a hard time with the pain. Like it just seems to aggravate the inflammation a lot more. And it's funny, you don't realize like when you get better. I quit eating the sugar for about like a few months, and you don't realize how much better you're getting until you eat sugar again and you go back to how bad it was before. Then you realize it's working. So, okay, so let's go back with the bread. We cut this in half, and I'm not really too picky at this stage. I used to be, but I just stretch. When you can stretch like this without breaking it, it's pretty cool. See that? Oops. So, and after this, we're going to put this, I'm just going to keep going with this. And after that, I'm going to put this into um, the oven. The oven will be off, but I'll just have the light on. Um, for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It depends on the time of the year. The house is pretty cold at this time of the year. We keep it around 19 degrees Celsius. Um, I'll then I'll have it maybe closer to 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. But in the summertime, don't put it more than an hour and a half. It overproofs. We don't have central air, so it gets pretty hot when it's hot outside here. One day We'll have central air and the generator back up. This is what we need here. And this is all I'm doing with this today. So I'm just going to put these two into the oven for about an hour and 45 minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll put them in the little steam oven at bake. So we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, Mr. Mount Homestead. All right, so this has been sitting for about an hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours, and it raised quite a bit. So what we do here is we just keep this in it's actually, I think, a cookie container. And I had someone, a local, make this a few years ago, a local to where we used to live. It's just basically a piece of wood with like a razor blade. So I really like it. So I just put a couple drops on the blade, and then you just, of course, it doesn't matter what design you do. You can have your own style. You can have like a whole bunch of diagonal. It does not matter at all. So we just put this, and now we're gonna put this in this little steam oven. I like the steam oven, and we're going to put this. There's a bread setting for this. Bread setting at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 36 minutes. And obviously we're not going to look at it rising in there, cooking in there. So we'll be back and I'll show what the end result looks like when the breads are coming out of the oven. Too bad we don't have a smelly TV or television smell, because it would be awesome. Anyway, so we'll just be back in a bit and we'll show you the end result of the sourdough bread. See you in a bit. And welcome back. Okay, the bread just beeped, so we'll take them out of here and look at that. It smells just wonderful. So it usually comes out of here pretty good. What I do is I put a little bit of olive oil in it before I cook it, and then a little bit of cornmeal or grit or anything really, and it comes out pretty clean. So I'm gonna leave these on the counter overnight. We're gonna use one tomorrow morning for breakfast. Well, with breakfast, and the second one we'll put it in the freezer. And then when we're done the first one, we'll do a sponge like we did before and start all over again. And this is how we roll with bread in this house. So stay tuned for the next session of, I believe it's going to be either burger buns or dinner rolls, if you want to call it. It's still sourdough. Or I think that will be the next video. So we'll see. Stay tuned and click subscribe button if you like this video. Thank you. Have a great day. See you in a bit.